data and AI, what we are seeing that the salaries are like 3x, 4x, and so on and so forth. So for example, recently we picked up one person with 6 years of experience. We are paying him 25 lakh rupees and things like that, right? So data and AI jobs are really well paying jobs, right? And uh, within AI, there are multiple things, right? Within data, there are like uh, things like ETL and visualization, and then you have all these data mart, data lakes, and so on and so forth. And on the artificial intelligence side, you have machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, neural networks, and so on and so forth, right? And if you see the people who are going and doing masters in the US, again they're focusing on data, and many of, I mean, like, whoever I talk to, they would have picked up a job in Amazon or Facebook or something like that, right, on the data side. And there is another emerging field, which is IoT, which again somewhere related to data. The difference between data and AI and IoT is the fact that in IoT there is a lot of focus on collecting information also, right? So you're talking about Internet of Things, and then you are trying to collect data from devices. Now, how do you collect that information? How do you collect that information in the field, in the industry, on the oil and gas field, and things like that? That piece becomes important. But ultimately, this is also about collecting data and drawing meaningful inferences from the data. So these are various areas which are there. Now, when I work in data and AI, it doesn't mean I don't work on Java or .NET. It's very much possible that I use Java as the basic programming language. Sometimes I might use Python, I might use R, and so on and so forth, but it's very much possible that I use the traditional programming languages also. But there is additional capability on top of your traditional technologies, which takes you to the next level. So if there are people who are trying to go to the next level, if they're thinking where they should go, I would, you know with my eyes closed, can say that you should go in the data and AI space. That is where the growth is. Okay. um, let me go to the next slide. So this is progression in some other streams. So especially if you want to get into the IT industry, but you are not really good at coding, or you don't really like to code, still there are opportunities. There are very good opportunities. One is on the testing side. You can start as a tester. Typical progression is automation engineer, but again, automation could be of two types. One is automating processes, and then there are tools like UiPath and Automation Anywhere and Blue Prism and things like that, using which you can do process automation. And then there is another path where you automate the testing process itself. Now, this automation engineering kind of involves development also many a times. So many a times the developers also come into this path, right? So what I'm trying to say is, like, there is no one single path, right? You can always switch and wait through this whole thing. But typically you start as tester, you become automation engineer, the next level you become business analyst, because typically what happens is testers, while testers are not coding, they're trying to understand the business, right? How a certain piece of business works, so that they can do a testing to figure out whether um, the application has been built for the purpose or not, right? And then you become domain expert and things like that. Again, this particular path is also actually could be very, very fulfilling. You can do extremely well in this space, and you can be in huge demand actually. If you become a very good business analyst or domain expert and things like that, you can be in huge demand, in much higher demand than normal IT person, I can tell you. Apart from that, there is something called IT support, which, as I said, like, these are the people who make sure that the developers or the businesses are actually working. They provide the platform on which the businesses are working, or the developers are doing their development and things like that. And there are different roles which are possible, like system administrator, support engineer, IT security, network admin, cloud admin, and so on and so forth. I will not go into too much of detail, keeping the time in mind. Right. Now the key question, right? So I've talked about what is required to be successful. I've talked about various options which are there, and so on and so forth. I think the key question which will come to the mind of someone who is new, or someone who is thinking whether to go into this space or not, is like how to choose, right? Here I would, instead of trying to give a formula, I would like to steer a little bit into philosophy, right? So I think it is very, very important that when you try to choose something, it is very, very important that you know yourself, right? So you must have, the concept of KYC, which is like know your customer, right? Similarly, know yourself is the concept which is required here, right? You have to know what are your strengths, what are your limitations, and what are your likes and dislikes. I think that limitation piece is very, very important when you try to choose a career or try to choose a certain stream and things like that. Uh, so if you, so this is Aristotle, sorry, right? So who says like knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, right? So I think if you know yourself now, and here the whole thing has been simplified a little bit. So there are three aspects. One is passion. What are you passionate about? What do you like doing, right? What attracts you? Second is competence, right? So for example, I might be very passionate about cricket, right? But do I really have the competence? Do I bowl well? Do I bat well? Can I hit the sixers? Can I run between the wickets well? So there is a difference between passion and competence. Competence is the ability, right? So which is knowing your strengths or knowing your limitations also, right? And then there is a piece, something called market demand. Now, what you should choose should be a confluence of these three, right? Where your passion lies, where your competence is, and what is there in demand in the market, right? So this confluence of these three things that you see in the center, that is what you should choose essentially. Right, so this is a process of discovery. It's an exercise in itself. You need to spend time to figure out what is your passion, what are your competencies, and what is out there in the market for you, right? And then choose your career. And this is not true only about IT, but any career you want to choose. And very important thing, right? No job is a bad job, right? Again, I'm focusing on job here. I'm not talking about entrepreneurship. I'm not talking about doing startups and things like that. As I said, that is a completely different topic. But if you are going to do a job, there is no job which is bad job. I'll just give you an example. There are some people we hired, and we were a much smaller companies 4 5 years back, and we did not pay that well. So we hired people at maybe like 1.5 2 lakh rupees maximum, right, at the entry point. Now we pay much more, but at that point of time we were paying maybe 2 lakh rupees, right? Now some of these guys in 5 years they are sitting on 20 plus lakh rupees, right? And in fact, some of these we went back and looked at on some people and tried to figure out whether we can get them back. It was not possible, frankly speaking. They were like beyond our reach, many of these guys. So what we did was maybe provided a good platform for them to learn and things like that. But I think a lot of credit goes to themselves, right? They did not see the job as a small job. They gave their 100%, 200% in that job, and which actually build that platform for them to go to the next level, right? So there's no job which is small or bad. Okay, so that's another thing you should keep in mind. So if it is 1.2 lakh rupees, it's fine, right? You will get to learn there, you will get to the next level. Okay, now having talked about all these things, let me talk about the question which I had put there right in the beginning, and I said I will try to answer that towards the end of this presentation. Will the growth continue? So while we talked about IT, different career options and things like that, there is another question which remains: will the growth continue? And I said the answer is yes and no both, right? And let me tell you why I am saying what I'm saying, right? Now what's happening right now is that there is a huge change, right? The world is changing very, very rapidly, and I'm not talking about COVID, right? Keep COVID aside for a moment, right? Without COVID also the world is changing very, very fast, right? So this is something that Forbes is saying. Forbes says that 50% of the current jobs will be done by machines within next 20 years, right? And this is the other quote is from McKinsey. Both Forbes and McKinsey are well-known organizations, and they're basically right up there in terms of what they say and what they do. What McKinsey is saying is like AI's impact, artificial intelligence that we keep hearing about, Impact on the society is 3000 times the impact of industrial revolution. Now we all know industrial revolution in 17th century, 18th century changed this whole world. Now McKinsey says that the impact of AI is 3000 times more. Now it can be debatable, whether it's 3000, 5000, 1000, but even if it is 100 times, that's a huge, huge, huge impact that we're talking about. Now, so keeping that in mind, right, there is another reality which is there, that if you look at the growth, so I said that the growth is there, but is the growth at the same pace at it was 10 years back, 20 years back? The answer is no. Right? The growth is much more stunted. And if you look at the margins, if you look at most of the companies, the margins are actually shrinking, right? And I'm not talking about an Apple which keeps making money every quarter and things like that. But in general, if you look at industry, the margins are shrinking, and the level of predictability is much lower, right? And COVID is an example of that, right? That things are not at all predictable at this point of time. And at the same point of time, the business paradigm is changing. The way business is being done is changing, which is kind of driven by technology, right? So if you go into a manufacturing industry, there are more robotics which is coming into picture. If you go into businesses, everyone is talking about automation, be it a bank, be it the retailers, be it pharma industry. They're talking about robotics and automation and so on and so forth. When you look at technology itself, a lot of things are being will be driven by, as I said, Forbes is saying that 50% of the work will be done by machines, right? When we say machines, these are not really robots, right? They don't have to be robots, physical robots working out there, right? This could be software machines, right? Which will be driven by things like artificial intelligence and machine learning and so on and so forth. There are other revolutions which are happening like 3D, right? So when you look at something like 3D printing, that changes the whole concept of manufacturing, right? You are printing the items, right? What happens to the assembly lines and things like that? Everything is changing, right? So what is happening, that the world is changing very, very rapidly in terms of how some of the things are being done,